It's part 3, and we're going to start off in manual mode. So to get to manual mode, you hit that bottom gray hand cursor over to manual. In manual, you adjust your voltage and wire feed speed independently. So you're not going to be able to adjust your amperage at all, like in Synergic, but you can adjust your wire feed speed and volts, like I was saying, independently. Now, if you hit that top right cursor, you have your voltage, and then also you have your inductance. So you can go from 0 to 10. So if you're trying to get it to stable out or get a little bit more aggressive, you go higher, all the way up to a positive 10 if you want. Now in manual mode, you can't set your wire type, diameter, or gas. So it is what it is. There's no pre-tailored waveforms or anything. Also, you can do 2T, 4T, and spot mode, and intermittent spot mode. The first setup menu in manual mode, you're going to have a majority of the settings like gas pre-flow, post-flow, feeder inch, burn back correction. You can set this to auto in manual mode. And then you're going to have ignition current, which I've never really played with, ignition timeout, factory reset, and a second setup menu where you can set your fuse and everything. So the only thing you're missing is hot start currents, end craters, and slope times. But for the mass majority, you got almost everything. We are going to switch the process to stick mode. To get to stick mode, you're going to take out the pigtail, plug your stinger or electro cable in positive, keep your ground minus, switch to stick in the process, and then on the top left, you're going to have an arrow, and all you can do is adjust your amperage. So on 110, you can go up to 114, and on 230, you can go up to 180 amps in stick. Here you have volts, and then this is dig or arc force. The higher the number, the more dig. The lower the number, the softer the arc is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 1/8 inch 7018. I'm going to max it out to 114 amps. And I'm going to take my dig all the way down to 0. Now, look at this arc shot. The puddle is very fluid. You know, it's not aggressive. I would say 0 is a perfect setting for 1/8 inch 7018 on 110. Now let's try something different with dig. Yeah, we can go all the way up to 100 to go extreme, but I'm thinking that's going to be a little too extreme. We already tried 0, so let's try 60. Now listen to the difference here. You can hear it driving more, and that's why they call it dig. It's driving more into the plate. You're getting more punch with it. I would say for 7018, go from 0 to 20. Let's keep going and go into stick menu setup. To get in there, you're going to push and hold down the left button, hit the right one. HCU is hot start current. So you can go down to 100 all the way up to 200%. So this is how hot that rod strikes at the beginning. And then you can set your hot start timer up to 2 seconds or not have it at all. Anti-stick feature. So here's anti-stick turned off. Now watch, I'm going to stick it and then I'm going to wiggle it around, and just like normal stick machines, the rod tends to want to stick to the plate and you got to rip it off, or it goes cherry red. So if I had a little bit more amperage to it, you probably see my rod go cherry red, but I'm only running about 114 amps, so you're not going to really see it go cherry red on 110. But this is typical for a stick rod. It wants to break loose, then you end up breaking the flux off. So this is the anti-stick off. Now let's turn anti-stick on, and you'll see the difference. So go down, strike, hold it. I always do a 1/1000, 2/1000 pause. And what anti-stick does is it senses the short, and then it cuts all the power to the machine so you can break it loose. So all you got to do is just go 1/1000, 2/1000, break, and it comes off clean. Do it again, 1/1000, 2/1000, 3. All right, break. There, it's that easy. So that's anti-stick. Then you got a factory reset, and then you got a second setup menu. And push this, hit this, you're out. That's it. It's time for some TIG. First thing, take your ground off and your stinger. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that TIG torch, plug it in the minus, screw our amphenol in, and make sure your rectangle's up top, and then you're going to take your ground and plug it into positive. And you're going to go down here to TIG mode, and I like a 4-step, but you do have the option of 2-step and 4-step. So you have amperage, you can adjust your amperage, and then you can't do anything on the right side at all. So your volts is dependent on your tungsten to work distance. So if you push up on the thumb control, your amps go down. If you pull down, your amps go up. And that's how you adjust your amperage. You have a thumb control right on the TIG torch, and then you have your arc on, arc off. Booyah. So let's go ahead and strike this on a 2T. So 2T's just arc on, arc off. I ran out of argon, and I'm running 98.2 CO2, but it's still working pretty good. Check out this tornado! So 2T, this is pretty typical. You can see how it goes. But next up is 4T. So 4T, you can control your start currents, down slopes, up slopes, reduce currents, all that. So now I'm going to let off the trigger, and it will drop down to a main current, which is 64 amps. And then when you get to the end, you can do a end crater fill as well, and then fill in the craters. Fill the crater. It's time for some TIG menus. Now, to get in the TIG menu, push and hold down the left button, hit the right one, just like the other ones. First one you see is FP, so this stands for frequency pulse. You can have it turned off, or you can go all the way up to 990 hertz. Let's try out 990 hertz in 4T trigger. So I'm going to hold down the trigger, and I'm going to have my start current. So until I let off the trigger, you don't get the frequency. So I let off the trigger, you can hear the high hum. That's 990 hertz. What this does at this much hertz is it narrows up the arc, puts focal in there, and then also you have less heat distortion. So let's knock it down somewhere around 6 to 5 hertz so you can see the difference. Again, 4T trigger. I'm going to let off, and then all of a sudden you'll see it go to about 5 pulses per second. So a lot slower. You can actually see what's going on with the pulses versus the 990 for sure. You don't have that screaming with the high frequency. Now let's turn this off, and let's turn the knob over to the next one. This is your time upslope. So you can set a time for how long the upslope goes for. Then you have the time downslope. You can set a downslope if you want. And then you have your start current. So you can set your amperage for the start. And then you can set your reduce current. So like a foot pedal, except for with the trigger, if you pull back on the trigger, you can reduce the current. End current. So at the end, if you want to fill the crater and then put a dab in, you can do that. Then you have gas post flow. Just like MIG, you can go from 0 to 9.9. Then we have the TAC function. So TAC function is kind of cool, to where you can set an amount of time where it pulses just at the beginning for that set time. So maybe bridge gaps or so on. So listen to it. It sets a certain frequency or pulse just for that amount of time. Then it goes into straight non-pulse welding. Pretty cool. Let's try it again. Check it out. Nice. This is one of my best features, I think, with the TransSteel 2200. That TAC feature comes with it. So you got to try it out. If you haven't, then you got factory reset. And to get out, push and hold, let go. Boom. Thanks for watching. As always, click that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up, because I do appreciate it. Have a good one.